Hi everyone, we're here with Chancellor Wrighton this evening, and on behalf of WUTV and Stud Life, we're going to be asking him a few questions. These were questions that were submitted by students, and we'll go ahead and get started.
I got a question for you.
Hi, Chancellor Wrighton. How will the downturn in the economy and its effect on the endowment affect the current construction as well as the future construction?
The downturn in the economy and the downturn in our endowment is very serious. The endowment for Washington University, like the endowment of many universities, is now down about 23% as of the end of December. January was a very difficult month, down probably another 5 percentage points. And this will have an adverse effect on the university, not only on construction, but all endowment accounts will experience a decline in the amount of money available for spending, for scholarships, for professorships, for programs, and certainly as we think about major new capital projects, I would say the major consequence of the down economy is that we're going to expect a larger fraction of the project to be supported by new gifts. So starting new projects will be difficult. However, projects like the Brower Hall for the Department of Energy, Environmental and Chemical Engineering will continue. We're well along in that project, and just earlier this week I checked, and very likely that building will be complete in May of 2010. We're going to continue with what we have underway on the South 40, but that project has been scaled back in terms of the second phase, and we'll slow that project down. But the economy is going to be a challenge for some time, and I'm sure for all students who are graduating this year, the employment opportunities will be more limited. So we have our eye on that.
As far as employment, you mentioned earlier in a statement, I believe, that you would be willing to take a pay cut as a result of the economy. Are there any other professors or staff members who are following suit with this?
I announced back in November in a letter to the broader community that I would volunteer to take a pay cut. That's already been implemented in the first phase. That was 5%. I'll take another 5% pay cut on July 1st. I did that because I wanted to signal to the community that this is a very serious environment in which we're operating. The leadership of the university, the deans and vice chancellors have all agreed that they would not take a pay increase, but we're not, in point of fact, reducing salaries across the board. We will be looking at compensation expense as one of those areas of concern. We have a total operating budget for the university of about $1.9 billion, and more than half of that is compensation expense. Obviously, a university is all about its people, but we do hope that with constraint in our operations beyond personnel expenses, we'll be able to hold up compensation at least to the values for this year. But the increases in compensation will be very modest, if at all.
Are you planning on cutting any jobs at all?
We're looking at everything that we're doing. And in the administrative areas, we've asked for leaders of the departments of the administrative units to take a look at what we're doing and to consider reducing the rate of growth in expenses. In what we call the central fiscal unit, we've asked all of the leaders to consider how we might constrain supplies, travel, and other expenses other than personnel. If reductions have to occur that are of a certain magnitude, that may mean we will have to cut back in terms of our human resources. But for now, we're hoping that for 2010, that is fiscal year 2010 that begins July 1st, we will try to hold our current employment. It's not readily appreciated, but at all times we're hiring people, and some people are being let go because of the rise and fall in research funding. And research funding is very important to us. The stimulus package that's been passed by the Congress and appears to be going to the President for signature does include major opportunities for new research funding. So we'll be competing for that and hoping that we can attract more resources for the university.
In terms of attracting resources, do you think that you will decrease the amount of students that are accepted to the university? Will the student body decrease as you're looking towards ways to sort of cut economic costs?
The applicant pool that we enjoy this year, as we look ahead to the fall of 2009, the applicant pool is terrific. We have a large number of talented people who want to be here. We just hope that their families have the resources to support their experience at Washington University. We don't know exactly how many students we'll be recruiting, but we think it'll be a class similar in size to the class that came in 2008.
As far as student life goes, how do you think that the economy will affect sort of the cost of living for students on campus? Are you planning any increases in the cost of food or housing?
We've already announced the tuition increase and the increase in room and board for the next fiscal year. And while we've increased tuition 4.4%, which in the minds of some is rather high, that's the smallest percentage increase, I believe, in 14 years. So it is a bit of constraint. This is the only controllable source of unrestricted revenue that we have, and we felt that we had to ask for a little more. We're mindful that many parents of our students may be facing challenges in their own employment or in the value of invested assets that had been set aside for their sons and daughters to go to college. So if anybody is experiencing a challenge financially, we encourage you to talk with our Student Financial Services, and we can consider, even in mid-year, increases in the financial aid. One of the reasons I thought it important to be constraining compensation is so that we could set aside some additional commitment for financial aid, which is an anticipation that we have. The magnitude of that need, unknown.
Okay, thank you. Ready for your next question?
Yes, indeed.
All right.